So hold on. Sorry about. Let's get an introduction here, please. I need some structure in my life. I know that Syreta, we do it all. I still need some kind of structure. I'm still lost in this damn phase.
Okay, listen, I go.
Okay. Success after lockdown, followers, family. This is Success After Lockdown with your brother Eric Benson, EB, my partner, Mr. Anthony Cologne in the building, and the uncomparable, the unspeak, the oh my God, the tongue lashes, Syreta Toson.
Thank you.
Syreta Toson.
Yeah, I'm always happy.
We have a guest today. We have a guest today that Miss Syreta Toson brought in the building with us, and we would like to speak to her. And I see she's living her truth. Yeah. And your name is
Amanda Thomas.
Yeah.
And it's nice to meet you.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, so that's my only structure part. You heard? That's for my producer.
You started talking about structure. I'm like, man, as long as it don't include count time, I'm great. Yeah.
Everybody, oh my God.
Yes.
So my producer made sure he mad at me. He'd be mad at me if I didn't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's just get into it right now. You know, it's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure for Syreta bringing you here today. We gonna pivot today.
That's right.
Before we pivot, we gonna explain ourselves just a little bit. So I'm originally from the Bronx, New York, and grew up in the Bronx, born and raised, New York City. And my brother Anthony also, we grew up on the same block together. Make a long story shorter, we separated for 27 years and 6 months. In that 27 years and 6 months, I was incarcerated, and Anthony did 22 years incarcerated. Wow. During that time we weren't together, so we separated at a young age. I was 20, he was about 17 at the time when we separated, and we have reunited, since August of 2020. And we are inseparable. We've been inseparable since. So I came home with this vision, with this idea. Anthony, he's been pursuing the vision and didn't know it. Before I came home, he was already pursuing success after lockdown, because he was being that success story in his own right. And when I shared my vision with him, we was attached by the hip once again, doing something good now for the community, outside in the community, no longer being a liability, but an asset now.
Right.
So, I sum that up real small, but Anthony can speak real quick.
Like Eric said, you said it all, my brother. Right? Thank you, I'm Anthony. I spent 22 and a half years in and out of prison, state and federal, from New York, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Florida. I've been home now a little over 6 years. I own my own company. I own a couple of companies out here in Florida. I have 5 companies, and we own 14 residential homes for people with mental health.
Love it.
Have a lot of other projects that we got that going on down here. Just an entrepreneur. I just love working. I love giving back. Life has changed. I'm married. I got a wife, beautiful wife who just celebrated 13 years of recovery today.
Amen.
Yeah, I got a 12-year-old daughter, homeowner. I'm just living my dream.
That's right.
My dream. Amanda.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm Amanda, like I said, and I'm from the Midwest. I now live in North Carolina. I came here to start over. I was just too involved in too many things. And unlike you guys, I wasn't gone long enough for everything to pretty much be the same, if not just a little worse by the time I came home. And I just knew that wasn't going to be a good decision for me to make. I came from a very loving home, really no reason other than I was sick that I landed in the places that I did. You know, it wasn't a lack of love. Excuse me. It wasn't a lack of guidance. I just didn't have a relationship with me, and I didn't know how to, and I didn't even know that it was important. My dad and mom, you know, they did the best they could. They just didn't understand the importance of teaching their daughters how to love themselves and respect themselves. And so I let everybody else do whatever the hell they wanted to do, you know. And that's how I defined who I was. And then that just landed me in places that I really didn't belong, you know. So anyway, I've been April 1st, I will have been out of prison for 5 years, and I became a peer.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So I've been sober for a little over 7 years, and I became a peer support specialist. Thank you.
Yes.
And substance abuse counselor. And now I work in a harm reduction clinic that is medication assistant treatment, Suboxone and methadone.
Yeah.
And, I just love people and meet them where they're at. And I love them until they can learn to love themselves. And I teach them how to do it if they're willing to the process. So yeah, just loving life, happy, joyous, free.
That's right.
Nice.
All right.
You know, if you could, Syreta,
Yeah.
you know, I know, listen, we all know Syreta. You know, we one-on-one with Syreta. Syreta's in a family now.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And my show's called Syreta Talks because I don't have a problem telling. I do not have a problem telling my story, and I don't have a problem. If I know you and you're out here and you're doing it, then let me introduce you to my friends.
Yeah.
Let me put you in the family. Let me get you on here because we are a success after lockdown. Right. Clearly, you know where I met Amanda, right? In the penitentiary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. There's so many of us out here doing it. So, you know, me and Amanda, like, I didn't really cross paths with you all that much. But let me tell you,
I saw you and ripping and running in through there.
Who, me?
Look at fly going up to the rec yard. And
oh, yeah, that might have been me. That might have been the neighborhood champ.
That was you.
That was me. But she rolled by herself, boy. I mean, you had a lot of close people, you know, that you associated with, but when you know how to do time, you don't do it too many people now. Okay.
Oh, Amanda. Nobody's told me that since I've been out. And I remember, well, this is just us going off subject for a minute. But her name was Marquita Payton. Remember Marquita Payton?
We pivoted.
Yes, that's right. And Marquita, one day I was sitting on the yard, you know, smoking cigarettes. Good thing I didn't pick that up when I got out. Right. So I'm sitting there smoking, and she came and sat next to me. She said, Syreta, you know what I like about you? And she was a little rough, a little crazy. I said, what? She said, because punks run in packs. Soldiers walk alone.
That's right.
And she told me that maybe in 13, I still had 9 years in front of me. And I didn't know that I had been moving and sitting like that, but I realized it was working for me in that moment. Yeah. That it was how I was surviving. And when she put a name on it, I was like, ooh, wait, that sounds cool. And I'm glad it's me.
That's right.
I'm glad it's me. Oh, I haven't heard that since I've been out. And when Amanda got a hold of me, I was like, dang, she remembers me. Cause that's what, like, I made an impression on like thousands of people because I had roommates coming out the woodwork on Facebook. Like, I was jamming with you in 2012. Do you remember me? I do. Yeah. So yeah, that was it.
Come back to our remembrance, you know, all things that we experience in life, they eventually circle back, and then we may not be able to remember it right off the bat, but when it's brought to us, we're like, yeah,
I know. I was like, I remember Amanda. And then when she started telling me the things she's doing, I was like, wow, I got to have you on because there's just so much. So then I said, well, I'm going on with these guys in the Bronx. You want to come?
Yes.
No jumped in the whip.
No question.
Yes.
I love it.
That's right. Because we all have those success stories. Yes. And this is what I love to hear, you know. We're gonna get right into it because we're gonna pivot one more time.
Okay, on the beat.
So this is what we call our cell therapy session. You know, our mental health session when it comes to success after lockdown, we like to keep people informed. We like to keep this on the forefront. We just had a brother from out here in New York City that that I was in prison with. And he came home and he was a community activist, really good, outgoing. I don't know if you've seen it, this video where we interviewed him here, right here on Success After Lockdown. He was also on the Joe Rogan experience. And you know, he was going through a lot of mental health issues. But I think they was, you know, inside a lot. He spoke about it, but I think he spoke about it like we all speak about it. And we don't take care of the problem. But I don't know, because he, you know, he has since, after our interview, been charged with murder again. He came home from a murder charge, and he
attempted murder.
Attempt that where he went his first charge, but now he's charged with dismembering someone, a person. And like I said, I don't want to get off into that part, into his guilt or innocence, but I do want to get off into the mental health part of people and coming home. And I see that you deal with a lot of I think mental health issues when you talk about the work that you in, you know, with substance abuse and things like that. I just want to get your take on with mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think a lot of people, I think it's either this: substance abuse is the onset of like drug-induced psychosis, schizophrenia, even bipolar, manic depressive disorder, or it's the other way around, and they're self-medicating because they don't know how to deal with themselves. It's really sad when we don't realize or know that there is a solution. There is an answer. And even if the answer is not everything has to make sense. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
We just want to feel heard, accepted, understood. You don't have to agree. Just hear me. You know, people that listen to listen, people feel it. People that listen to respond, you just don't feel heard, you know? And so a lot of times when you go to treatment or you sit in like processing groups, a lot of that processing time that you spend speaking, you actually really figure a lot of your own stuff out. But it's just a matter of hearing yourself say it. And then you're like, oh, that's why I do that. Or that's why I feel like that. Or it also gives someone else the opportunity to either share their experiences, which then means you don't feel as alone. You don't feel as crazy. You don't feel as unique. Like, I'm the only person that feels like this, you know? And you're able to start self-identifying maybe where things went wrong, you know, the error of your ways. And like I was telling you earlier, Syreta, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So you can acknowledge where you're at, then you can start getting to where you want to go.
Anybody?
I'm laughing because I had literally had this conversation with my brother, right? Like literally 30 minutes
Confirmation.
ago. Right? I'm so big on that. It's really like the universe is always speaking.
Yes.
Right? And people, we're not in tune. And I tell people all the time, right, that we're so moving so fast, rushing to get to that moment, that we miss every moment leading up to that moment. So that when we get to that moment we've been chasing, it doesn't feel as good.
We did the moment.
Right?
You know?
And that's the whole point. And it's just constantly, and I'm telling my brother, you know, he has got into a big situation with his roommate. Cops was called violent. There was violence involved in it. And I had to bring it back to him. He's saying, well, you know, he's got schizophrenia, he's bipolar, and that. And I said, what are you? I said, what are you? Go, oh, well, you know, I'm not schizophrenia, I'm bipolar. I said, okay, so you both have a mental health, right? You both take medications for it. If you read on the side of the bottle of that medication, It says do not mix with alcohol. It would intensify the effect of the drug. It may cause this, cause all these other effects. Then you mix that with some other drugs in your system, right? And then if you even remember to take your medication, you're taking it with drugs and alcohol, and then you usually have to forget to take your medication. So you got a person who's schizophrenia who responding to internal stimuli, right? Auditory, visual, right? You bipolar. 1 minute you're cool with them, the next you're screaming at them, berating them, right? What do you think is gonna happen? Fuse that with your alcohol and your usage. I said, Robert, like, when are you gonna wake up? What you're doing is just not working, brother.
That's right.
But it's, I said, listen to me. I'm not better than you. We grew up in the same household. We got the same education, same mother. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
I decided to make a choice to take control of my life instead of making excuses to beat myself up. I decided to see a clinician, a physician who can sit me down and diagnose myself properly instead of me using the street term that we so freely throw around growing up in the hood as that person crazy, meaning in a good way. He crazy.
Right.
And so we get immune into feeling these feelings and just accepting it and brushing it off. Right? The ones that we grew up with that do have the schizophrenia, we made fun of them. It was a joke to us. Right? So now we live in a new day and age. And I told my brother, like, when you stop drinking for 17 months, and I made a bet with him on that, and he got himself clean and he was doing great, amazing. Yeah. I said, when did you decide that good life you was living just wasn't good enough, that you decided to go start drinking again and back to this path where you at?
Can I speak to that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to speak to that because I am extremely what they used to call manic depressive, but they call it bipolar now. Okay. So I knew, it takes people a while to find the meds that work for them. I found it off the bat at 19, and I kind of just been on and off taking meds or whatever. So I was taking, and I'm a firm proponent of, if you need mental health meds, take them. Okay. So this one man, I always took two, because I'm ADHD too. So it was something to try and slow me, and it was working. But this is what happens. You get to telling yourself that lie, like, man, I bet you I can go out and use. Now, let me tell you, I'm different than your brother because I didn't forget to take my meds. I didn't want the meds to interfere with the effects of my drugs. Like, I didn't want these meds messing up my, the real drugs. Yeah. Now, I knew this was working for me, but I didn't see, like, everyone's like, oh, man, the meds will slow down this high. So let me go try that, and then I'll go back to the meds. I just never made it back to the meds. Never made it back to the meds. So I don't, like I said, you put stuff in the atmosphere and it's confirmation. If the meds are working, stay on them. Stop messing around. Stop freaking yourself out of it. Stop thinking that you need to go on a bender real quick. If they're working,
and what I love, though, right, when he tries to justify talking to a person that had 96 residents under my care with severe high acuity mental health.
Yeah.
I'm talking about clinically deemed, right? On the right meds, they're thriving. They're doing the best. They're not a threat to the society, right? Had it wasn't for Congress to decide to pass that law 30 years ago that said it's inhumane to continue to punish a person and keep these asylums open because a person has schizophrenia or psychosis or schizoaffective with a manic high and a depressive low, and they can't think and they can't feel, right? Let's lock them up for the rest of their life. Congress, thank God for Congress. Congress did something right and unifying to get the votes to pass this law, right? So now they have these outside entities, right, that help stabilization. Right? Stabilization is just one component of it, right? One thing I learned in this field, doing what I do, is that no two doctors are ever in agreement. Right? So every time a person has to get restabilized, they go see Dr. A. Dr. A say, this is the medication we're going to put them in a stabilization unit for 72 hours and release them. A week later, person goes right back in, right? Dr. B sees this person, looks at the chart, flips the page over and said, well, we're going to write this medication and release them 72 hours later. And the recidivism rate is it's a constant cycle.
Yeah. So your brother's trying to tell you his excuses and you already know him.
He's going to tell me that he's not an addict. So I tell him that you're better than me because I haven't had a drink and a drug in over 10 years and I still go to a couple meetings a week. All right. You're better than me.
But that's why
I want to hear Amanda because she's got the perspective. I mean, you do too. You do too. But let me tell you about Suboxone and methadone.
Yeah, I've been on both.
It's just like, tell us.
Yeah, so I want to back up for a second with the beginning of what you were saying, Anthony, about your brother just not feeling satisfied enough with his life that he felt it was necessary to go and self-destruct again. And what's so unfortunate about that is it may not be the best route to go, but it's the comfortable route to go. That's what he's familiar with. And if he has not worked on what has brought him over there, then everything that happened that transpired prior is just going to bring him right back over there because that's where he's comfortable.
Correct.
You know, but working on your self-worth, your self-esteem, that all comes confidence, you know, all of those things that stems from loving yourself. And if you don't love yourself, then you're not going to have the ability to do all these other things. You're not going to be able to grow and prosper and learn new ways to think and to feel and to act and to do. You're just not going to because you don't care, you know, and you can't give what you don't have. You just can't. And as far as what you were asking me about the medication is what a lot of people don't understand is, okay, so there's 6 parts to our brain and there's a whole bunch of neurotransmitters going crazy and not everybody's brain operates the same, even though they're all still a brain. Not everybody's operates the same. Some are mental health, or eating addictions, some are body dysmorphia, some I mean there's a whole list of that go on, and it's because something's just not moving and grooving in a way that aligns towards every 6 areas of your brain, right? But once again, you peel the layers back, and if you love yourself enough, then you're going to start doing self-discovery work. And you're going to figure out what is it that I need in order to obtain a home, a wife that loves me, a wife that's sober, businesses that add value to the world. You know, all of those things come from a place of loving you. And that's truly where it begins is loving yourself. You know?
Well, if I could quickly, so I actually associate this to one's will and that, you know, and I speak about the will because, you know, I just took a training, right? We just had a training at where I work at, and it was on trauma informed, you know, and I think we all go through a lot of trauma in life during birth, you know, at the beginning of our being born, you know, we take on trauma and growing up. And I don't care where you grow up at. If you grow up in a nice family, a 2-family home, if you grow up rich, you grow up poor, I think there's a lot of trauma to go around in that growth and development stage of oneself. And so, like, and I say that because I could have easily been this I don't know if I want to say victim. I think this is the wrong words to use, but I could have been this statistic on being this drug user and abuser, right? Me and Anthony grew up together. We grew up on the same block. We sold drugs and sold poison to our community. You know,
you could have justified your actions easily.
No question. See, Anthony, he testifies, to this day how he's a recovering addict. He testifies to this day how he, took these medications and that meds. I never took meds before. You know what I mean? But like you just said, I think I could have justified for taking whatever those meds, that was given, especially in the prison system. Because once you came in, it was, you want something to sleep, you got 25 to life, you might need something. The doctor hit you off quick, and then they put you on this this long-term regimen of your life, So I'm saying that to say, like, I think I associate this with the will, because some of us, like you say, we all have different DNAs, but we all have a will, and it's whether you strong in your conviction with yourself. Because I'm going through that with a brother right now. My brother's in and out since 1985. Did 5 years, did 6 years, came home, did 4 years, then came home again. He did.
Vic is Robert. Vic is Robert.
Years.
Vic is Robert.
And now he's back in again. He can't seem to stay out of. He don't, because his drug addiction too. This is associated with his drug and him not wanting to take full accountability and responsibility of his life yet. I'm 52, my brother is 56, 57. And he's still and I just spoke to him yesterday. He's in the North Carolina prison now. He got, he was on life parole. They let him go to live with my cousin in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he went out there and found the hood. He went and found the hood again, and now he has 8 years out there, and then he has to come back to New York because they want their life parole. They not finished with you, but when is enough enough? He's not addressing the issue, and I think that's because he doesn't have a strong will within himself. He's allowed himself to fall into this space where, it's not like Anthony. Anthony said enough is enough, and he meant it. Right. This was something that he encourages and he performs every day of his life. Going to these classes, going to, in recovery classes, going self-care, taking, making sure that he acknowledges that, self-care is a part of that therapy.
Putting in that work. Putting in that work. So and I didn't even tell you.
The will. So if anybody could speak to that will.
Yeah, well, Amanda is in North Carolina. I didn't. I failed to mention that. So Raleigh, I was just telling her, look for places near you so we can mirror that model, and that's why we're on shows like this. Is because the message is it's all out there. It just has to come together with the will, the realizing that, hey, you can't do it by yourself, the realizing that some people need counseling, others need medication, some people need a deeper relationship with their higher power. Nice. Maybe some people need all of it, and I'm one of them.
And that's so true. And I remember when I was ripping and running the streets, and when I say I loved the streets, boy, I loved the streets. I loved the excitement of it. I loved being around people that didn't look like me, talk like me, act like me, because I was brought up in this small little rural town, country girl. And so when I saw diversity for the first time, I'm like, woohoo, like, I love it. This is exciting. And so I just gravitated towards it. And I had so much fun, doing it. What I thought, well, it was fun. I do have to say it was fun, but until it wasn't.
Until it wasn't.
That's how it starts.
That was that part of that independent stage too.
Wait, when it wasn't, it came up on you quick. You didn't know that. Now I'm stuck. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. And and I think that's the whole facade, and that's the whole out of body. That we're not living in ourselves. We're really. That's why when I say I'm living my truth, I really am. I speak with substance. I live with purpose. Vice versa. Whatever you want to say, but it's the truth. I have refused to allow everything that I have done, put my son through. I'm a mother, I'm a single mother of a 19-year-old that went through hell while I was gone. This young little boy at 9.5 years old lived years without his mother. That's not fair, and there's so much to that. It's a little off. I could go on about that forever, but it's a byproduct of what my choices were, and everything, like what you were talking about. Remind me of what you were just talking about, Syreta.
Oh, that, you know what? There's so many different facets that someone might be lacking. And it does all relate back to what you're talking about, loving yourself, knowing
Yes.
who you are,
Yes.
being able to identify what's missing from my cogs on my wheel.
And just knowing that you need it, knowing that there's a problem, looking
That's
at
the first step.
Yeah, your actions, your reactions, your lack thereof, and saying, this doesn't really align right, but you just have to get to a place where it's just not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like your friend or your brother, they don't get the opportunity to reach that, because what happens if they don't get the opportunity, they go into a place like the penitentiary, and for men, it has to just be so much different. Yes, it's hard for us, and there's a lot to that, but there's a different type of hard for you guys, and a safety factor, and it changes who you are. It changes what could have been, like truly what could have been. And it's just sad. It's so sad to me that people miss the beauty in life because they haven't dug deep enough to find out that they actually are missing out on something. Some of these people, they don't even know that they're missing anything.
Yeah, well, the first step is admitting there's a problem.
That's right.
That is the bottom line. You just hit the
absolutely. So I got a guest that's in the bottom, and I'm gonna bring this guest up real quick because I would like for y'all to meet, our brother, Mr. Michael Marshall. Michael Marshall served 30 years.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
30 years. Jesus.
And I think that he could speak to mental health issues with just being in there, and the challenges that us as men that you were speaking about go through incarcerated with mental health issues. This brother Michael Marshall works for Exodus Transitional Community, helping the community now. He's been home for about, I'll say a little over 2 years now, if I can remember. Not that I'm counting. Yes, I am. We trying to get him off parole. That's right.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
I just got off August 10th, 2023, and we looking for the brother to get off as well as Syreta. So
that's right.
Speak on it, Mike.
Don't forget about me.
Yeah, I think next month will be almost 3 years for me, and I'm supposed to be getting off of parole next month.
Oh, congratulations.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Mental health, I believe all of us have mental health issues to a degree. Even the ones who have never been incarcerated. For me, I facilitate mental health issues, or I equate mental health issues with how we connect with society, right?
Mm-hmm.
Social constructs control a lot of how we think. And I think this imprisons individuals to agree mentally, because we try to live up to things that we think we know, but that we've been taught. It's been embedded into our character.
That's right.
And I think this destroys individuals from within mentally. When it comes to the incarcerated or individuals who've been in the box for a long time, I think the individuals, they've witnessed what it can do to a person's mind, right? How it could slowly biodegrade how individuals thinks and how he sees the world.
Yeah.
But I think that is our responsibility as individuals to use our mind as a tool instead of using it as an outside force. I think that this is where we go wrong, because I think the solitude is what we need as individuals to escape a reality for us, because the reality is not really a reality. I call it the matrix, only because everything's been made up, right? But we think it's real. Like they say, oh, why are you not eating breakfast? I said, well, who says breakfast was breakfast? right? So I control me now. Before I was controlled, right?
Yes.
I used to buy into things. Now I create things. So I
Yes.
think that mentally we've bought into an ideology so much that we've imprisoned ourselves, and it's driving us crazy because we can't keep up with it. This is just the first step, I think, into mental health, because it's about self-care. Images, feeling pain and emotions. We chase these things because we are connected so much. We are plugged in. He or she made me feel this way. I feel this way because there's rain outside. We always are connected to our emotional feelings instead of our intellect.
Mm-hmm.
Our intellect connects with how we think, which is our mind. And a lot of times we can't control our mind. Our mind's outside of us because we let it dictate. Instead of it being our friend, it's actually become our enemy. And when your brain becomes your enemy, you can't control it in a lot of ways because you hear voices, you start to hear things that you created, but you think they're outside monsters. They become outside monsters because you've allowed your mind to take control of your reality. Right. So
confirmation again.
I just try to
Nice.
tell individuals to unplug from the matrix, and it all disappears. Like we was kids, we said, "Oh, they were monsters. They're monsters." We hide up under the sheets. We didn't have a sense of awareness then, right? We were caught up into the matrix because we believed so many things. It's kind of funny because I facilitated a group the other day, and I put up posters because right now I'm working on a project. I put up posters, and one of the posters I had a reporter with a microphone interviewing someone. The other poster I had a little girl pointing at another little kid saying snitch, right? And the other poster I had the blue wall of silence, which is this, which I'm working on a project right now. This is blue wall of silence, right? And all of this is based on the concept of snitch, right? And I asked them to give me the difference between the three. And you understood that one of them associated being reporter as the individual who is nice. One individual, like it was a group, they equated the concept snitch into being someone who was evil. Oh no, you can't be a snitch, right? And the other one, which was the law enforcement, they call whistleblower. So I gave him this child book, right? Which is this, right? My name is Sammy. I'm not a snitch, because I'm actually doing a senior project. I'm actually on like on the 60th page of my bachelor degree. So they were so animate on giving me explanations, right? So I told them, I said, everything that you explained to me was not yours. So what do you mean? What do you mean? I said, everything you explained to me was given to you, just like the individual in elementary school. I said, you can't recreate the wheel. The wheel is already created. You just added to what you've been fed, right? I said, wipe all of that clean, the slate clean to everything that you've been taught about that acronym, and give me something genuine. They couldn't, because we can't really give anything genuine because they have not disconnected from their social constructs.
Yeah.
Really. Right?
Something they've been told.
Exactly. So they're actually giving me definitions to what they've been told and what's been embedded in them. Nothing's genuine. And once they started to do this, they realized that everything that they've been taught wasn't real. Until they get to this point and reconstruct the way they've been thinking, then they can start over. You know, people think I'm cold, like I'm the Iceman. No, it's not that I'm the Iceman. It's that I think intellectually. It's that, you know, I don't run around. I understand emotions. I'm not empathetic of your plight, but I have to think logically how it would affect everything, not just emotionally.
You know,
you say something?
Yeah, thanks for that. You know what I mean? And when we're speaking about that, you make a valid point. But when you really think about it, right? If everyone could get it like we got it, what would this world be like? Right. So unfortunately, you know, in early stages of my recovery coming into the room, you know, it was a sad thing, you know. Somebody say, man, such and such has passed away, you know, of an overdose. This, that, and you know, I'll be standing in the room and I go, better them than me. Right?
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. Go ahead.
I gotta be honest, right? Because that's how we look, right? We the world that it's about me. It's about me, right? Look out for number one. I'm number one. I used to say sometimes, somebody had to die in order for me to survive, right? And I know the concept, right? The mindset like growing out your head right now, right? But again, there's the stuff that when we was growing up, are the values growing up in the hood that we came by, right? If we was out there on the block and arguing another block, your mindset is to protect this block at all costs, right? But not everybody on the block can be a boss. You had to have somebody out there that was willing to take the work, to put it out there, take the risk while you sit back and you collect. Everybody thought like the boss, you have no workers. If everyone, we can't hear you, E. When you look at where we all came from, what did it take? If I was to ask the question, what did it take for us to get here? And we all wrote it down without saying it. I'm pretty sure we'll all come up with the same thing.
And right now, you're like Morpheus, right?
Yeah.
In the Matrix. You just came back, right? You become a credible messenger, right? You had to go through certain things, right? And you've unplugged. So now that you're back, you have a message for us, right?
Yeah.
This is the transformation with the mind, right? You've been someplace, you've been to a different planet that no one's really touched, right? And those who have touched it, they don't usually come back and tell the story as you have, right? Or they're not as successful as you. So you're in this place, right? In the Matrix, and you're going through these things. Now you're back and you're saying, listen, I've been there, right? So now that you've been there, you have a lot, you're very well informed and you have a lot to say. People should listen, right? Whether they listen or not, it's no longer your responsibility because you have a bullhorn and you're yelling it out, right? It's up to them now to say, what is he saying? Just to listen. You can't save the world. I gave a seminar one day, and I gave it about gun violence. And they said, well, what makes your thing different? I said, well, like doctors, they know their job is to cure people, to save people, but they also know they can't save everyone, right? And I know that I can't save everyone. I'm gonna do my best, but I know in reality, and I don't hold anything. I'm not handcuffed to that because I know the reality is I can't.
Right.
So my job is to do what I can, and your job is to do what you can, right? And you're doing it. You have the bullhorn. You back, and I commend you, brothers and sisters, who are doing it, right? Syreta, you know, the sister on the bottom says, "Living my truth," right?
Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda. And let me tell you, this is so much confirmation because we were just talking about that. Me and her just were talking about how you have to step outside of yourself or you're living outside of yourself.
You got to get uncomfortable. You got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. Right?
Yeah.
That's yours, Syreta, right? But this is why we're here now. And no matter how much we're blasting with the bullhorn, with the microphones, with the sign, I take the time out my day to speak to the youth at the juvenile facility. I stay trying to educate, brothers and sisters formerly incarcerated, family members, people on the street, addicts. I try to give them hope, experience, strength, and hope.
Yes.
Absolutely, because we testament.
It's to share that experience, strength, and give hope, right? Unfortunately, not everybody is going to see it, respect it, and listen to it. Right? Well, we continue, like you were saying, Mom, we continue to be the vessel that we are, to do what we can and spread our truth to show people, listen, it doesn't matter where you came from, no matter what your color is, no matter what your nationality, what's your sexual preference, what's your whatever. We're here. If I can do it, like I tell people, listen, if I can do it, because I have so many people tell me what I can't do. In this industry down here, I live in a red state. I'm in Florida. They told me I couldn't buy a house in a gated community because of my extensive criminal record. I bought the second largest house in my community. They told me I couldn't. They told me I couldn't put my name on the businesses. Right, my name is on every one of my businesses, and we're the most successful since day one. Right, they told me what everything that people tell me I can't do, I tell them better, and that's what I try to tell brothers, formerly incarcerated men and women, recovering addicts, people with mental health. Every one of my residents that come to the door, I tell them there's nothing that I or any of my staff can do that they can't do 10 times better. And to prove that, some of my employees or some of my residents that came live with me was severe mental health, now working for me on full payroll.
Amen.
Well, Anthony, what you were saying, that's just like what Michael was explaining. Michael, right? Yeah. What he was explaining is if you would have believed what everybody else was telling you, then you wouldn't be in the position that you're in right now. We learn to think for ourselves, do for ourselves, understand the way that we understand. And another thing that was spoken a little bit ago is you've got to take and set yourself aside and just rest a while and figure it out. Unplug from everybody, do a factory reset on your brain and say, okay, what I was doing before obviously was not working. Now, feelings aren't facts, and you should never, ever, never, ever, never respond or react while you are in your feelings, because it trumps your intellect, and you just shouldn't do it.
And you know how I define what you were saying, Amanda, right? I define this as taking that self. I think that everyone, when you do that I believe this is the key to your success. I define it as self-introspection. You take that self-introspection of yourself, because that's what I did. I was this child. I was this little kid. I was this youth that every word, you see them, every word came out of my mouth was the N word, the B word, calling females B's, calling dudes the N word. And, I had to take this what I call self-introspection of myself. I had to lock myself in the cell when it was time for yard, when it was time for gym. I said, nah, let me talk to me and see what I want. And I went through that thorough introspection and told myself I would never use these words. I'm just using one example of thousands that I had to do to thread myself off of, shed myself off of this learned, system that I actually helped to put on me. And so, since 1995, I never used those words. You'll never hear me utter those words out my mouth unless it's for, using it as an example, but just these things helped me. And that's what helped me in my growth and development. That's what helped me to be able to sit here and now just kind of calmly and gradually flow through this interview and pivot,
That's my thing. That's my thing.
Now. So Syreta, because we do have time to pivot to what Syreta, what we was going to talk about.
Okay, well, I'm working on some keynote speeches because, I got a little popular after TEDx. Watch my TEDx, just put in my first, last name, TEDx. Yes. And I've only been out 18 months.
Congratulations again.
Thank you. But let me tell you, I hit the ground running and I was working a couple of jobs. I had the great job at the building where I'm at now because now I'm a client. But one of my biggest pivots was I was a receptionist. I was a receptionist at a place that fostered entrepreneurships on a small level and a large level. The place where I'm at right now, they scouted 3M to this town. Swift Meats, huge $1 million projects, but they also started small businesses, and I would be listening. I remember sitting at the threshold because there's different suites, so I could hear the man from the Chamber of Commerce talk about being a member, and I was at this position and I knew I could do so much more, but I wanted to make it to a year, and I'd only been there at that time when I finally resigned. It was 11 months. And it was because of a series of circumstances. You know, I would have stayed in that job forever, but my dad passed. My mom, they had so much faith in me. They were coming from Kansas City. They were moving to Columbia. He died the day I picked up the keys. So now, and my mom was in ICU. She was in a rehab center. So when I bring her to this new town, she doesn't know a soul. I got to get her health care together. I'm working from 8 to 5 every day. And it's too much. I cannot leave her at this house like this. So I said, Mom, I'm thinking about quitting my job. I know I can get another part-time job. What do you think? She said, yes. She didn't want me leaving her every day. I had another job that next week, and I came back to this building and became a client because I said, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to start keynote speaking. Nice. These are all into everyone's life. Because it doesn't matter if you've been to prison or if you haven't. Sometimes you've got to change your complete trajectory. Your complete, like, and it just happened. My daddy died. I feel like he came with us. My mom needed me full time. Now I have a job where I go to help kids, but I do it on a larger level. I go look for donor support. I go talk to the people in this town who I want to be like and who know me so I can help with this program. It wouldn't have happened. I'm the community outreach educator for grade A+ enrichment services for kids. And right now I'm going to big bankers in town. Hey, can you support our program? It wouldn't have happened unless I stopped being the receptionist and realized that all those things that I was learning and listening to, I can do
it. That part.
That's pivotal.
That part. Okay. Yeah. I think she's been watching my TikToks.
No, but listen, tell me
that's what he talk about a lot too.
What?
That's right.
Well, I want to know what your TikTok is.
Yeah, so she can get on there. What is the TikTok?
It's called For Real Talk.
For Real Talk.
For Real Talk?
Yeah, FORREAL Talk. Yeah, so that's what I tell people all the time. Listen, when I came home, my boss told me to learn everything I can about the business. He put me in the office, in a computer office, doing medical billing. It took me 2 hours to turn on the computer because
similarities.
It never dawned to check to see if it was plugged in. Have in mind, I'm my only male. 12, 13 women working. All laughing, he and giggling, cell phone, look at the new guy, and I'm over here tapping the computer. I'm hitting it. I'm doing like a television back in 1985 that we have.
I would have been laughing too. I'm sorry.
No, they laughing at me. Nobody's. I'm literally. I'm human, and I want to sleep so bad. I'm saying to myself, my mind, my old self is telling me, "Yo, F these women, man. This, that, and the third, like now." And I didn't want to throw around that my boy owned the company. I didn't want to throw that in there, right? So I remember going home and I asked my wife, you know, what's a Google Doc, what's a spreadsheet, what's a Word and Excel, and she told me, and I would go into work every day, 2 hours before my scheduled time, leave 2 hours after my scheduled time on my own time. And I did this for every morning. I would go in early and cozy up next to someone, ask them if they want coffee or donut, and get intellectual property to learn everything that they know. And within 3 months, I dedicated my time and energy into learning everything I could about that company and started to exceed up the ladder.
Nice.
Today, when I still working, I started in a billing company and I worked myself all the way up to director of admission, of overseeing the admission department for 13 treatment centers throughout the country.
Wow.
Right? Traveling, making over $100,000 a year. My wife the same way. She was making over $180,000 a year. We have financial security. Right? We had that financial security, but we were starting to fulfill our purpose. And, you know, I gave my boss a 6-month notice that I was leaving when I started my company, my business. I was still dedicated to him. I was still dedicated to my business and trying to just work. And people were saying, Anthony, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. You can't do it. And I'm like, man, I did 22 and a half years in prison. Don't tell me what I can't do. I can do it. You know what I mean? If I got to work 16, 18 hours a day, I can do that.
That's right. Especially for ourselves.
right? And
especially for ourselves and what we want to do.
I did that for 6 months, 3 months, 30 days. He responded back to me and said, man, you ain't going nowhere. 2 weeks came. I told him, yo, it's my last 2 weeks. Just heads up. He flew down from Spain to come see me the next day at my job, pulled me to the parking lot, told me, yo, you can't leave me. You're the best person I have since you brought that energy since you came home. And I had to look. He's like, stay part-time. Keep your same salary. Coming in whenever you want. Do what you have to do. No problem. And man, it sounded enticing, right? Because I'm an addict, right? And now I want more. I'm like, damn, I can still make $100,000 a year. I'm only coming for 4 hours a day instead of 10 hours a day. Make my own schedule and still keep what I'm doing. Oh shit, I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna get rich quick.
Yeah.
And the integrity over income. I had to look him in the face and say, yo, Frank, it sounds so pleasing, but I can't continue to make your dreams flourish and neglect mine.
That's right.
Today, that same guy, he wound up selling his company. He's now a billionaire. He's my mentor. He's one of my business partners now, who is my boss. And we're flying on a private jet on Tuesday to Mexico for a couple days.
Self-care.
Wow.
I tell people hard work, dedication, consistency. Stop making fucking excuses. Stop crying. Stop being a victim. Okay, man up, suit up, show up, and do the job as if it was yours. Because they're always watching. Someone is watching. They recognize that you don't have to always remind someone, hey, I overdid this, I did that. They watch. I tell my employees all the time, I am watching. I know who deserves a raise. I know who's doing a good job. Like, you don't have to just take the initiative. And that's the problem with the world today. Everybody, we're comfortable in that comfortable feeling of being sad and depressed and down on ourselves and being a victim.
Yeah, and like I said, dude,
no better than y'all.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah, but that goes back to again that will, right?
Yeah, you got to have. Some of us have it. Some of us
don't have that strong will,
right? But like, yo, we have what that's called free will when you're born, right? After you transition to go through what you have to do, I truly believe, psychologically proven, that I don't care how messed up your brain is, that there is a 5-second gap in your brain that you have clarity. I don't care what time of the day it is. I don't know what time of the day. I don't know what time of the night. But during a 24-hour period, your mind will give you a window of 5 seconds of clarity to say, I want to change or not.
Yeah.
You respond to it or you react to it. What we do,
Anthony, I'm a believer. You got to let that spirit work through you. You got to let yourself be a vessel. Like sometimes you got to give up and then realize, hey, now I can think big because I know this. I'm tapped in. And I'm not going to put, my sister said this too, because I was like, she said, you should be a TED speaker, TED Talk. And I was like, man, I don't think, I didn't think I was there. I am there. Don't put God in a box. Don't put yourself in a box. If I put in the work, like you know what I'm saying? Like I've been texting y'all back and forth this whole time. And for real, I need to be working on a ride home because my car is in the shop. But I knew I had work to do. I got dropped off. I know I had work to do. I picked up the key yesterday. I knew I had work to do. I knew I needed a new battery. They couldn't put it in. I had to drop it somewhere. I've been putting off Amanda because we shot a podcast before this for the last 2 hours. I was putting in the work. I'm not going to put myself in a box. And guess what? I'm not going to put God in a box. And it don't matter what you believe in. That's one of the steps. I put my faith in the higher power. Right. Come on now, whatever you believe in, tap into that and realize that higher power believes in you and let him use you. Because I'm not going to put myself in a box. I'm not going to put the God in a box. But I know this. I used to tell people in prison all the time. They're like, I'm going to get out. I got faith. Laws are going to change. Faith without works is dead.
Yeah. And discipline is doing things that we do not want to do so we can have what we want later. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. One of the symptoms of the disease of addiction is instant gratification. I mean, human beings in general, as a whole, really suffer from, wanting what we want when we want it. And we're going to pretty much sell our souls to the devil to get it.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of cases, you know, proper preparation prevents poor performance. And that can apply to so many different things, you know.
That's right.
I mean, 5
That's
P's.
right.
The 5 P's.
Yeah. I also believe that I mean, we have some fantastic stories, some fantastic comeback stories.
Yeah.
But individuals have to understand that everyone's story is their own.
Yes.
I think that this is where it starts. Individuals plug in because everybody want to be an Anthony. You know, it's not gonna happen. I think everyone could be themselves. You can't come home from prison and try to play catch up, right? You have to stay within your means as far as utilize every resource you can, right, to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And then you can become a better you. You can become a bigger Anthony, right? A baby Anthony. But you still have to keep these things in perspective because I think individuals, they do a lot of jump and leaping without taking the small steps, right? Without taking the steps that will solidify their future accomplishments. You can skip steps if you can jump and make them, right? This doesn't hold anyone back. But I think individuals, they dream a lot, right? They say, oh, I want to become the president. But you haven't done things to do that, right? You sit down on your hands. I think that once they get up and try to work towards these things, it'll happen. But a lot of individuals, they're dreamers, right?
Well,
they don't put these
when I
things.
spoke about, pardon me too for cutting you off because we close to time. But when I spoke about taking that self introspection of yourself, that comes with a lot of other things too. Patience and discipline, very, very important to one's being. You know, when and I think we know that a lot of us know that because we in these forums, we in these classes, we in these circles, you know, these think tanks together, and we know how important it is. You can't say, you know, you're taking this self introspection of yourself and don't know that, you know, that you don't have no patience and discipline, you know, because that's very important to coming home trying to catch up with the Joneses, trying to catch up with life. And I think that, you know, always being prepared for change is very important. And I talk about this a lot, and Michael know I talk about this a lot, and Anthony, that, you know, I'm ready, you know, and I'm gonna be there and put myself in that position, you know, to when that opportunity come to be ready, you know, at all times, because change can occur. And it did while I was incarcerated, that it you know, pack up, you going to this prison, don't know where you going. A lot of people were scared. A lot of people, they got mad at it. You know, they put themselves in the box because they were scared to change. You know, me, I'm packed up before they open the gate. I'm packed up before they even tell me. If I find out I'm leaving, I'm already packed. You know what I mean? So just being prepared. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, because I know we got to go, but let me just say this. And here's people. I hope that everybody that's listening, that's tuning in, that's out there, you know, listen to what I believe is the biggest mistake that we make when we come home. When we get locked up, before we get locked up, we're the man in our neighborhood. We're loved, we're respected, we're this, we're that. Everybody's thinking about it when we're physically there, right? Then you go away. Half those people don't write you no more. You don't hear from them, whatever. They forget about you. You do a number amount of years. You come home. Our mindset, right? We're going back to the same people that we was hanging out with that's still doing nothing. Still talking about old war stories, right? Like if you owe them something. Instead of saying, yo, I need to surround myself with people who can tell me how to be a productive member of society, who can help me fix my credit, who I can work and learn with. Let me be around some people that's going to inspire me, motivate me, and uplift me, instead of sitting there talking about the same old junk nothing that ain't paying my bills, that can't help me get no food. But yet you're not putting intellectual property here, but you sit there in the corner and talk to the same dude about nothing. What am I getting out of that?
Absolutely.
How can you live and talk about what you want in life, but you spending your time all day talking about nothing.
That's a whole nother episode. And we need to couple that with unrealistic expectations. There you go. Because either you think you're going to get out and be the man, or you think, listen, I used to call it the pretenditentiary, because women came in there driving cars that they never had, dating guys that they never knew, wearing clothes that they never had. So when you get out and you got this unrealistic expectation that you're going to get out and you're going to be pushing a new whip, and you're going to have Chanel and Gucci and a Dooney and Burke, but you ain't got no foundation, no plan, no way to succeed. Honey, you're going to come out and be pretending, and in your mind, as soon as it gets blown, you're going to be back to the shit you were doing, smoking crack and hoeing. Sorry to say it that way.
So this is and this is a good way to go out. So if we all start with Syreta, if we could tell those individuals that's coming home, that's on their way home, give them some wisdom or some words of encouragement about what they can do. What would it be? And I want to go around the board with everybody.
Okay, you're going to start with me?
Yes.
Okay, because Matthew 7:1, judge not lest ye be judged. And just because I clean up nice, don't think I don't know about smoking crack and hoeing. I just called it escorting, but let's call a spade a spade. So here's what it is. We got to talk about getting real with ourselves. Get real with yourself. The first step is admitting there's a problem. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and mic drop. I'm not pretending I wasn't who I was, but I'm going to know who I am.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Must live in my truth.
Yes. So.
And that's only because right now I just met you, so I keep forgetting that name.
That's
Anita?
Okay. It's Amanda. But that's
Amanda. Okay.
Amanda Thomas out of North Carolina. Living my truth 333. You too.
Yes.
Right.
I got you.
Ladies first.
I think people that you're talking about, people that are coming home, what would we say to them, right?
Yeah. Or just anyone.
Yeah.
Make any words of encouragement or wisdom.
Make a realistic plan, write it down, create a vision board, and start chipping away at it little by little, because it's going to take baby steps to actually be making the big steps, and it's about progress. It's not about being perfect. It's just one foot in front of the other, and every small thing that you accomplish, a driver's license, improving your credit score, those are all huge milestones that should be celebrated, and you should be giving yourself credit where credit's due. Just don't get ahead of yourself and don't expect it all to happen overnight. I wanted to be a substance abuse counselor so bad. I wanted to get out and I wanted to save the world. Okay, well, 5 years later, I've been a substance abuse counselor for over a year, and I had to do the hard work that it took in order to be where I'm at today. And I'm still not even near where I want to go, but I know that I'm on my way there. But you know what I mean? It just takes dedication. That's and right. The belief in yourself, and the willingness to just take the smaller steps that is going to lead you into the larger picture.
Stay consistent.
Absolutely. Mike.
Hey, I just want to, I'm gonna attach my train right behind Amanda's. You couldn't have said it better than that.
Thank you.
Everything that she voiced with my sentiments as well. But I also think that you need to forgive yourself when you come out for things you don't know, right? For things that that you're gonna have to learn, and you have to be patient with these things, right? Because we made a lot of poor choices, and a lot of people don't forgive themselves for making these poor choices. There'll be more. So just forgive yourself for what you don't know and things that you've been through, or things that you think that you've missed. You're going to feel a way about it emotionally, right? But once you detach from these things, you can just do exactly what Amanda said. Make this vision board and get to work, and just be patient with the work that you're putting in, because it's going to be hard to some, right? To some, it may come easy, but you just got to focus on what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that you're in, and just keep it moving.
Okay, Anthony.
You already know what I'm gonna say, man. Listen, man.
That's right.
Surround yourself with people that's doing better than you.
Yeah.
It's going to motivate you, that you can get intellectual property from. Okay. Don't take advice from a person that ain't got nothing. Person can't tell you how to start a business if he still ain't even got a job. Okay? Don't take financial advice from a person that haven't had a bank account in 40 years. Okay? Like, seriously, surround yourself with people that you want to be like. That's the only way to graphically change and grow.
Absolutely. I heard a saying from 50 Cent, the rapper, couple of months ago, I think it was, on social media. He said something about, people coming around you and don't have nothing to contribute. I paraphrase him. What I felt he was saying. They ain't got nothing to contribute to your growth and development, to you being a better person, or being that entrepreneur that you looking and striving to be. Then get rid of them. Leave them by the wayside. Period. Because that's they're not helping you. They only bringing you back down. With that, I want to say Syreta, she our one of our hosts, she just, I guess her camera was messed up a little bit, but it's all good because we're gonna step out of this right now. I gotta go outside because it's snowing like crazy up here in Albany, New York, and I got snow all over the car, and a tree just fell on one of my cars. My wife just told me. So I'm going to see the damage right now. I'm sure. You know what I'm saying?
It's so nice to meet all three of you. Thank you for letting me.
Awesome.
No question. And with that, we definitely look to have you back, Amanda. If you stay in touch, if we can stay in touch. Definitely go to our Instagram, our YouTube, Success After Lockdown. I got your email now, and so we definitely look for to stay in touch with you.
Absolutely, thank you. Anything that I can do to help add value, I'm all about it.
And we should be down in North Carolina in a couple of months or so.
My son's from North Carolina. What part of North Carolina?
Raleigh.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my whole family.
Yeah.
So we will begin in touch with you again.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Awesome. Another success. You ready? Bless this family. Take care, and it was an honor meeting you.
Yeah.